Beep, 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 beep. Welcome, Court of the EDI Jester. How you doing? Buy me a coffee, Send me a super thanks. Anything you can do to help, always gratefully received. Warrior Teachers in October. So you'll see the advertising start to go up shortly. If you look at my Twitter pin tweet thing, if you're interested in getting ahead of the game, you can see where you can apply there. Great, good to talk to you. Hello, how are we doing? What's the game? Well, today we're going to talk about cereal. Not killers, as in the marvellous Clive, with this wonderful channel. Some new stuff about serial killers on there. It's brilliant. He's so good at this. No, we're talking about cereal, as in breakfast cereal, and in particular Kellogg's. Right? Kellogg's breakfast cereal. You may not know this, but they have a very strange history, Kellogg's, because Kellogg was a bit of a nutcase when he used to take people to sort of, isolated places in the country and then build huge, sort of like spas, where they, get enemas and talk about masturbation. It was all very odd. Kellogg was very odd, I believe. If my history is correct, please feel free to put me right in the comments. If not, we are in the land of the US, the land of America. Oh, say, you get it, right? We're off there today. So we're going to look at what's happened, which I think is quite interesting. And it's a woke, brackets, Kellogg's accused of sexualizing breakfast. Let's just put me off mine. Legal group urges that company be investigated over workplace diversity policies that it claims are unlawful. These companies keep getting themselves in hot water with this diversity crap. Just drop it. Just drop it altogether. What is wrong with you? It's nonsense. Right? Absolute nonsense. A conservative legal group on Wednesday urged a US anti-discrimination agency to investigate Kellogg over workplace diversity policies, says are unlawful, and accused the cereal maker of sexualizing its products. This is the second complaint filed this week against the company by America First Legal, a non-profit run by Stephen Miller, who was an advisor to Donald Trump, the former US president. So some interesting players here in this unfolding cereal. Oh, stop it. Right. Isn't it? Some interesting players. America First said in a letter to the US Equal Employment Opportunities Commission, the EEOC, that Kellogg's hiring, training and promotion practices are designed to achieve a balance based on race and sex that violates the federal law banning workplace bias. What we are talking about here is the inculcation of equity into a business's activities rather than equality of opportunity. And according to this, there is a federal law that bans workplace bias. You cannot practice equity without bias. Equity is the sort of thing that gets you. We've got to have, 44% women, 44% men, 2% gayers, 2% trans, and 2% of whatever it may be. And don't bother with the disabled because we haven't got a lift. Right, that's what equity is. It's a load of nonsense. Absolute nonsense. The only thing we should be practicing when we're doing recruitment is to ensure that people who are disabled can apply and will automatically get an interview. That's the best thing you can do, so that you talk to people and then you're able to make reasonable adjustments. I don't know why we don't spend more time worrying about how disabled people can play a bigger part in our society, but we should. Imagine if we'd done that rather than fanning about with race and gender and, queer and all this stuff that, communist trollops like Ash Sucker come out with, sorry. Why haven't we? So it has also criticised marketing campaigns, including boxes of Cheez-It crackers featuring drag queen RuPaul and cereal boxes celebrating Le Pride Month, okay? We need the Le bird, and then somebody needs to cut out the Le and give it to this weird-looking animated bird. I wish I was good at all that stuff, because I do crap like that. If I could use Photoshop and do what Mole does, I'd do crap like that. If you were to subscribe to my Substack, become a Warrior Teacher, or buy me a coffee, I might get to the point where I can actually afford to say to somebody, I want this to do this. Can you make it for me? Wouldn't that be wonderful? I love the idea that I'd be able to expand into doing silly stuff like that. It would be marvellous. Marvellous. Management has... This is the statement. Management has discarded the company's long-held family-friendly marketing approach to politicise and sexualise its products. Imagine having your breakfast and looking up, from your dippy egg, and there's Rue Bloody Paul on the side of a box of Kellogg's cornflakes. Can you get? Oh, what a drag that would be. There's a subheading then: illegal discrimination. The EEOC can sue companies if it finds that their employment practices amount to illegal discrimination. Kellogg Co. did not immediately respond to a request for comment. Is it any wonder? They didn't, yeah. One could say that they gave a Frosty reception. Can we have some more cereal puns here? A Frosty reception. Oh, I love it. Many legal experts expect an uptick in legal challenges to corporate diversity programs in the wake of a June US Supreme Court ruling barring race-conscious admissions policies in higher education. So they barred it in higher education, right? So if you're in the, HE, which is of universities and all the, the trappings and nonsense of the universities, if you do anything that's pro-race, i.e. a race over another race, which used to be called racism, by the way, before the left lost its mind, expect to be taken to court. Good. Let's get these wokesters gone, okay? In the letter, America First said Kellogg, for example, has said it wants to have 25% underrepresented talent at the management level. Here we go. This is where the nonsense starts, eh? By 2025, and runs fellowship programs that are only open to racial minorities. Yep, stop that. It's silly. It's very silly indeed. Kellogg's employment practices are unlawful. They are unlawfully based on equity, which is a euphemism for illegal discrimination. Well said. About time somebody said it. Reed Rubenstein, a lawyer with the group, wrote, thank you, Mr. Reed Rubenstein. What a fantastic name. America First said it also sent a letter to Kellogg's board of directors on Wednesday threatening shareholder litigation if the company maintains the allegedly illegal policies. The non-profit on Tuesday sued Target Corp on behalf of an investor, saying the retailer failed to anticipate customer backlash over LGBTQ themed merchandise that hurt its stock value. Here, this is the game on, right? It's an interesting one because if you're running a company, the Company Act puts certain things you have to do, certain onuses on you, because the company is treated to all intents and purposes as an individual, right? So if you're not doing what's right for the company, you can technically be held up and stop being a director. You've got to treat the company as a separate thing, and you're there to make the company money. That's it, right? So this is the same sort of thing that we're seeing being brought into play here in America. And these outside organisations weighing in and going, hang on a minute, we're not having this. And the shareholders saying, cut it out or else. So the market is shifting, the market is moving. You can feel it beginning to pass out waves of, if you do this, we are going to come for you. Leave the market alone. Because what we're seeing is an interference in the market indirectly here, but that's part of the overall plan by wokesters who wish to have equity as our primary motivator for doing what we do, which is, of course, when you come down to it, communism. And yet all these large organisations have let these idiots in because these large organisations, it appears, are run by idiots that don't even know the word due diligence and didn't listen when people warned them. They are deaf to it, to what the reality of this all is. The complaints are part of a campaign conservative legal groups and Republican legislators are waging against corporations that have enacted so-called woke policies on social issues such as race, gender, and diversity. Please let me know, but honest to God, I think the writing's on the wall. Now, we've got organisations in Manchester who are scurrying around trying to sign up small businesses to this, and small businesses, it's like shooting fish in a barrel, right? Because the small businesses are so unaware of what's going on that they can just sign them up for this, all equals charter or whatever it may be that they're using this week. And they get sucked into these equity vortexes, where it's like, now that's it, the spiral begins. It begins. I've got friends of mine who've had problems at work because they refused to bow and kowtow to the nutters that are running the HR department or whatever affinity group of the week happens to be about. I think the legislation on equality needs to explicitly ban affinity groups and explicitly ban equity practices. Even more so than they do now. But what's even worse is that they can do that because the law exists for us to stop this to a certain degree, but there's nobody prosecuting it. The EHRC, the Equalities and Human Rights Commission, run by the marvellous and redoubtable Baroness Faulkner. Hello, Baroness, if you're watching, which she isn't, right? Baroness Faulkner. recently gave money or said we've got funding to anybody who's been, had race discrimination in work. I'd like to see you do that for people who are gay, Baroness Faulkner, and then you can fund me while I take every organisation that's practising this to the cleaners for creating a hostile environment. How about that? We could do that, couldn't we? We could do that. The very fact that they've got the progress flag in the window means I'm not going to go in their business. They are signalling to me that as a gay man, I'm not welcome. That should be that's a breach in equality law. They are providing a service, and they are saying we aren't going to serve these people because this environment is hostile to them because the trans progress flag, or either the trans or the progress flag, are profoundly homosexual signifiers that it might as well say no blacks, no Irish, or the equivalent gay thereof. No shirt lifters. Pufters? No. So it should say something like that. That's what it's actually saying. No pufters, right? No Irish, no blacks. It's the same thing. It's just done by memetics instead. It's a meme. So you see the progress flag with its chevron, and all the crap that comes with it. That's effectively a sign saying no pufters here. Imagine if it was no blacks, no Irish, no dogs. What it used to be. No blacks, no Irish, no dogs. People would be in uproar, but they're not in uproar because it's a memetic signal rather than a direct linguistic one. Anything that displays the progress flag is saying no gays or lesbians here. We do not welcome gays and lesbians here. That's what it's saying. Because it is profoundly homophobic at its core. Think on, Minnie Caldwell. Right? I hope you're well. Itchy nose. Go well. I shall see thee later, good folks. Bye-bye.